Yo, what's up guys, Bottom G here. A little while ago when I first crossed 100k on the main channel, I made a post where I said I was gonna do a Q&A for you guys. Yeah, I didn't do that. So now that several months have passed, I decided, hey, it's a perfect time to cover an irrelevant topic. Just like Will Smith did with his whole Chris Rock situation, whatever you wanna call it. Anybody ask for this? No, not really, but we're doing it anyways. Are you still training BJJ? And if so, how often? This is an important question because a lot of people that first get into training jiu-jitsu definitely get the impression that if you're not doing 2 times a day, 5 days a week, you're never gonna see any improvements, which is simply not the case. But honestly, it's definitely the idea that a lot of mainstream jiu-jitsu athletes sell without letting you know that the only reason they can train so goddamn much is because they're on the sauce. So back whenever I was competing all the time, basically doing a tournament every other month, I was training once a day, minimum of 5 days a week. As of now, I'm much more of a casual jiu-jitsu person. My training nowadays is focused simply on having fun. And because of that, I train about 3 times a week, which honestly is great as long as you're consistent about it over a long enough period of time to start seeing results. How do you not get skin infections and such? Yeah, you can definitely get some pretty nasty infections, ringworm being a basic example, but you can also get more serious stuff like staph, which is never a good time. You could literally lose a leg or an arm because of staph. So I would say showering, super important. As soon as you can shower after you're done training. If you can't shower at the gym, as soon as you get home, take a shower. And obviously, if you have a gym where cleanliness is a priority, the chances of you getting a skin infection drop off exponentially. What motivated you to get your purple belt despite getting whopped as a lower belt throughout your BJJ journey? Honestly, I do find this question to be a little telling. What keeps you motivated? Man, you gotta have fun doing what you're doing. If you're constantly looking externally for motivation, maybe you should just pick a different hobby. Because if you're gonna stick around with jiu-jitsu long enough to actually see results, you're gonna have to enjoy the little things. I know it's cliche, but it could be something as simple as, instead of getting submitted every 45 seconds, push it off to 1.5 minutes. When you first start out, honestly, you're gonna be working mostly defense, and it could take up to several months to get your first gains as a white belt, to be honest. But back whenever I first started training, I remember my first class, I'm like a 155-pound, kind of built dude. Not the biggest dude, but I'm pretty strong, pretty athletic. I get put up against this little stream bean of a guy, you know, he's probably like 120 pounds, and I shit you not, he submits me like 5 times in 1 round. You know, I remember thinking to myself on the drive home that day, if that skinny, weak-ass little stream bean fuck, if he can do that to me, think about what I can do once I actually get good at this. Honestly, if you're asking this question, I would probably do some searching and see if you actually enjoy doing jiu-jitsu, because if you don't, it's not really worth doing. And the people that I've seen actually get good at jiu-jitsu are the ones that just keep coming back day after day, week after week, and they're making those small 1% gains every single time. If you had to give your black belt speech tomorrow, what would it be? Honestly, this is something I haven't really thought about. You know, I think the black belt in martial arts, jiu-jitsu, karate, whatever you want to say, it's really hyped up, put on a pedestal, and I'm not a black belt, but I imagine whenever you get there, just like many other things, you realize that it doesn't really change your life that significantly, doesn't really change who you are as a person. At the time being, I'm just having fun doing jiu-jitsu, staying funky with it. Hopefully I'll keep doing that. If things ever change and I stop enjoying jiu-jitsu, I'm just gonna quit. I'll be real with you, man. Yes, I do want to get my black belt eventually, but that will come with time. At the moment, just hang out and don't take yourself too seriously. How to avoid injury? Feel like I get a new one every week. Yeah, injuries, those are the bane of my existence. And honestly, the best way to avoid injury is to just stop doing jiu-jitsu. Now, obviously, you have the serious injuries. Somebody breaks your arm, dislocates a shoulder, or perhaps pops your ankle. In which case, you know, tap sooner. If somebody's a spaz, just don't roll with them, all that good stuff. But doing jiu-jitsu over a long enough period of time, you're gonna be hurting something, whether that's your spine, your head, your neck, from wrestling, from getting smashed in side control, inverting, you hurt your lower back. Biggest advice I could give as far as avoiding injury, besides the obvious of like not rolling with the spazzy guy, listen to your body a little more, be in tune with how it feels. A lot of injuries in jiu-jitsu honestly come from overtraining, so if you can be attentive to how your body feels, you know, maybe that means taking a rest day even though you feel like you should be going to class. So if you're getting hurt all the time, I'd probably put some thought into your training, you know, maybe just reevaluate a couple things. Well done, bro. Are you gonna do some more of your gym visit / sparring breakdowns? I missed post those. Yeah, man, the gym takeovers, those are probably the funnest videos I've ever made. You know, traveling to a new city, checking out a new gym, and I definitely want to keep making those. But, you know, I don't want to get too repetitive over this one type of content. I feel like that just makes the content a little stale. So as much as possible, I do try to keep the content new, fresh, and exciting. Competition pointers, and more importantly, in parentheses, I'm not sure why it's there. What do you think is the biggest obstacle in going from blue belt to purple belt? Honestly, I didn't even know I was getting my purple belt. So I don't know. I know that blue belts, they have like some basic, vague idea of what's going on, and they have one or two things that they kind of gravitate towards, but as a purple belts seem to be, from what I've seen, they seem to be slightly more dialed with their specific game, to the point that if they get to apply their game on a black belt, they should be able to score points if they can get to a position they're strong from. But if you're asking how Yoon specifically can go from blue belt to purple belt, that's very case by case. I would talk to your coach, honestly. He has a better idea of what he prioritizes than I would. And besides that, I'd probably just focus on getting better in general, not getting scored on as much, being able to apply your game when it counts, especially in competition. And a lot of that comes down to subtleties of grip fighting, controlling the dance, controlling the tempo, all that good stuff. But yeah, I'll keep it real with you. I was not anticipating getting my purple belt, period. It kind of came out of the blue. What made you start training? Yo, honestly, I remember I was doing construction, absolutely hated it, and I had watched this documentary about Rich Franklin, the UFC fighter, who was a former math teacher in high school. You know, and I remember thinking, if a math teacher can do that, I feel like I have a fair shot at it. So yeah, I wanted to be a cage fighter, wanted to fight in the UFC, and then about 6 months in, I did my first jiu-jitsu tournament, won my first 2 matches by submission. Thank you, thank you. And then in the finals, I lost by a single point, had a huge chip on my shoulder because of that, and wanted to get that dub back. I got it back in our rematch like a year later, whatever. But that's what got me more into the competitive jiu-jitsu side as opposed to the cage fighting side. What has been your most humble and proudest moment in your BJJ journey? I don't think about proudest moment. Honestly, it's probably beating a purple belt as a white belt. As far as my most humble moment, I guess whenever I lost my first match at Worlds. You know, I've taken some losses and I've been cucked by the judges before, but nothing really like sticks out as for being particularly awful or whatever. I don't know. I feel like if anything like that happened, I feel like it made for a good story. So I don't know, man. Most humble, yeah, losing first match at Worlds. Sure. Where did you go, man? It's been a while since you've published anything. Yeah, true. So, okay, let me level with you guys. The reason I took almost a year off of YouTube, I got a pretty bad injury, which, you know, it kept me away from training. I could not train. I still wanted to make content for you guys. So the content I went to was making the fight breakdowns. I didn't enjoy making those videos. Like I said, I enjoyed making the gym takeover videos. Since I was injured, I could no longer make those. And so I told myself I was gonna take a week off, but that week became 2 weeks, a month, and that turns into me only uploading like 2 videos in a 12-month period. And my focus for content right now is to try to make a video that, you know, is a good video, but also I'll enjoy making. I've got a really good video. I'm not sure if it's already out on the main channel. Maybe it's coming out after this video, but it was a really fun video to make, and I think you guys will really enjoy watching it. Favorite submission from side control? I don't really like going for submissions from side control. It's a bad position to get submissions from. I'd rather go for something from guard, from the back, from some dynamic crucifix, Kimura trap position. But one of my favorite submissions is definitely the armbar. I hit that from everywhere. It's just such a good, satisfying submission. The Kimura is also pretty cool. How long were you a white belt for? Good question. I was a white belt for exactly 2 years. I started training in October 2013. Yeah, I got my blue belt October 2015, and then exactly 2 years after that, that's when I got my purple belt. I was a purple belt for exactly 5 years, and in October, that's when I got my brown belt. So 2 years to blue, 2 years to purple, and then 5 years to brown. We'll see how long it takes me to get my black belt. Yeah, that's it for the video, guys. I'd definitely like to do something like this a little more often. I know I've kind of been slacking on engaging with the community a little, and we got something interesting going on, so you know, I'd like to do more videos, kind of like this one where I engage with you guys. Doesn't really seem like a main channel content, so I'll probably stick to keeping that over on this channel. Hope you're doing good, and I will see you in the next one.